There comes a moment in life when the illusion finally breaks. The moment you realize nobody is secretly preparing your future for you. No mentor waiting, no hidden opportunity, no sudden rescue. Just you. And the silence that follows that realization. At first, it feels unfair. You look around and watch others rise through invisible ladders. Family names, introductions, lucky timing. Doors open for them effortlessly while you stand outside wondering what you missed. But what if you didn't miss anything? What if you were simply forced to learn a truth most people never face until it is too late? The world does not reward potential. It rewards pressure-tested survival. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. He observed that power rarely belongs to the one who waits for permission. It belongs to the one who moves without guarantees. The one willing to act when nothing feels certain, and that is where you stand now. No support means no distractions. No connections means no borrowed identity. No luck means every step forward belongs entirely to you. It feels like disadvantage, but it might be the purest form of freedom, because people who rise through comfort often depend on comfort. The moment the foundation cracks, take yaps, but the one who starts with nothing learns to build differently, slower, harder, but stronger. Still, a question lingers. How do you keep going when nobody claps? How do you believe in yourself when there is no evidence yet? How do you succeed when the world barely notices you exist? Most people quit here, not because they lack ability, but because they mistake loneliness for failure. But loneliness is not failure. It is the training ground where identity hardens. The truth is uncomfortable. The person with nothing to lose can become the most dangerous person in the room, because once you stop expecting rescue, you begin creating your own power. And that is where the real journey begins. Because succeeding alone is not just about working harder. It's about learning how to think differently, colder, clearer, and more strategically than everyone waiting for luck to arrive. The first mistake people make when they are alone is believing their biggest problem is lack of opportunity. It isn't. The real problem is psychological. When there is no support system, your mind starts looking for approval everywhere. From strangers, from temporary success, from any small sign that you're moving in the right direction, and that need quietly weakens you. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He understood that dependence is not only physical, it is emotional. The moment you need others to validate your path, you surrender control of it. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they cannot tolerate being misunderstood long enough to become powerful. Think about it. When you start moving differently, people question you. When you stay silent, they assume you're lost. When you stop explaining yourself, they call you arrogant. You stop sharing your struggles. You stop celebrating small wins. You begin to feel like an observer in your own life rather than a participant. Success starts feeling quiet, almost empty. This is the paradox no one talks about. The same mindset that helps you survive alone can also isolate you from the very meaning you're trying to build. Machiavelli understood power, but even power comes with solitude. The higher you climb through your own effort, the fewer people truly understand the cost, and when others cannot relate to your path, they often misunderstand it. Some call you cold, some call you obsessed, some quietly hope you fail, so things feel balanced again. This creates a subtle tension. You begin hiding your ambition to avoid discomfort, not theirs, but yours. Because being different is exhausting when no one sees the full picture. Neurologically, this makes sense. Humans are wired for belonging. Social feedback regulates emotion and motivation. Without it, the brain starts running on pure discipline, and discipline alone is heavy fuel. You can keep going, but it feels harder than it should. And that is where many people make a dangerous mistake. They confuse exhaustion with weakness. They think the loneliness means something is wrong. But the truth is simpler. You are not broken. You are transforming. The question is whether this transformation will harden you into isolation or evolve you into something stronger. Someone who uses solitude as a weapon rather than a prison. And that shift begins with rebellion, a complete change in how you approach success itself. The turning point begins when you stop treating solitude as something to escape. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid being alone. They fill silence with noise, movement with distraction, ambition with approval. But the person who succeeds alone learns a different lesson. Isolation is not punishment. It is preparation. The rebellion starts with a shift in perspective. Instead of asking, "Why do I have to do this alone?" you begin asking, "What advantage does this give me?" No expectations means freedom to move without permission. No connections means you can reinvent yourself without history holding you back. No luck means every result becomes proof of capability. Machiavelli believed power belongs to those who understand timing and perception. Moving quietly without announcing your plans allows you to build momentum before anyone realizes what you're becoming. So you stop explaining. You stop seeking witnesses for your effort. You focus on execution. The second shift is internal. Emotional control, not suppression control. You learn to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. You act, even when motivation disappears. You make decisions based on strategy, not mood. This is where real confidence is born. Not from praise, but from evidence you've collected alone. And finally, you stop chasing opportunities. You create leverage, skills, discipline, consistency. Things that make people notice you because ignoring you becomes impossible. The rebellion is quiet, just a steady accumulation of strength, until one day the world realizes you've changed, and it doesn't know when it happened. But even this isn't the final lesson, because the ultimate truth about succeeding alone isn't about power at all. It's about what happens when you finally realize who you had to become to survive it. Here is the truth. No one tells you at the beginning. Succeeding alone is not about proving the world wrong. It is about finally meeting yourself without excuses. You started this journey believing you were missing something: support, luck, connections, a shortcut everyone else seemed to have. But somewhere along the way, something changed. You stopped waiting. You stopped asking for permission. And slowly, the person who once felt abandoned became the person who could stand without leaning on anyone. That is the real victory. Because the world may never see the nights you doubted yourself. It will never understand how heavy silence feels when no one is cheering for you. But those moments shaped something rare, a quiet certainty that cannot be taken away. Machiavelli understood that power gained through your own effort is the only power that truly lasts. What you build alone becomes part of your identity, not just your circumstances. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing validation, people start respecting you. The moment you stop chasing approval, opportunities begin to notice you. The moment you accept solitude, you stop feeling alone. You realize the journey was never about becoming untouchable. It was about becoming unshakable. So if you are standing at the beginning unsupported, unseen, uncertain, understand this. You are not behind. You are being forged. And one day, when they ask how you made it with nothing, you will smile quietly, because you'll know the truth. You are never alone. You were becoming. And slowly, you feel pressure to shrink back into something familiar or something acceptable. That is the hidden trap. The world rewards conformity early and punishes independence until results appear. This is why succeeding alone feels heavier than it should. You are not just fighting external obstacles, you are fighting your own need to belong. And belonging is seductive. It tells you to slow down so others feel comfortable, to explain your ambition so it sounds less threatening, to wait until the timing feels safe. But safety rarely builds anything extraordinary. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold not because bold people are lucky, but because they move while others hesitate. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates perception, and perception becomes power. The person who succeeds alone learns something most never understand. You cannot build a strong life while constantly looking sideways at what others think. You must learn to move without applause. You must learn to build in silence. Because when there is no support, your greatest weapon becomes clarity. Clarity about what you want, and clarity about what you are willing to sacrifice to get it. And sacrifice is unavoidable. Comfort, approval, predictability, all of it must go. This is where the psychology changes. You stop asking, who will help me? And start asking, what can't be taken from me? Skills, discipline, focus, emotional control. These become your foundation. Because once your identity stops depending on external validation, something shifts. You become calm where others panic. You become steady where others seek permission. And slowly, almost invisibly, you begin turning isolation into strength. But that strength comes with a cost. Because the longer you walk alone, the more the world begins to change the way you see it. And the consequences of that transformation are deeper than most people realize. Winning alone changes you, but not always in ways you expect. At first, the changes feel empowering. You become more independent, more focused, less distracted by drama. You learn to rely on your own judgment because there is no one else to lean on. But independence has a shadow. When you spend too long solving problems alone, you begin to assume everything must be carried alone. Trust becomes difficult. Not because people are always untrustworthy, but because your nervous system has learned that depending on others is risky. Psychologists call this adaptation. The brain protects itself by reducing vulnerability. It convinces you that emotional distance equals strength. And for a while it works. You move faster. You think clearer. You become efficient. But slowly, something else happens.